To Building Solid Foundations. This is Steve Matley, your host. We are on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. Today we are going to be talking to two guests who actually have another show on KCAA, I believe The Fabulous Lifestyle, that you host. They host on a once-a-month basis on that show, and we're going to talk to them about what they do, where they come from, what they know, and what they have to share with you. Our first guest is here in the studio is Kelly Bennett, 20-year award-winning broadcast journalist, emphasis in public relations and community affairs. She's been a reporter, anchor, TV host, radio host, assignment manager, and then managed public relations for 2 Fortune 500 companies, and then founded Bennett Unlimited PR. She also is society editor for Orange County newspapers. She covers nonprofit galas, events, and basically lifestyles of the social scene out there. And she was named vice president of Awakened Women's Network, along with the president, Cappy Pidwell. And that brings us to Cappy Pidwell, who's our second guest in the studio today. She's a speaker, author, and mindset strategist, founder and president of Awakened Women's Network, which is a global women's networking and coaching company. She's a master of NLP and hypnotherapy. I believe NLP, think Tony Robbins, right? That's kind of that up that line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mindset strategist and product developer, and she's been coaching and consulting audiences, corporations, associations, business owners, and entrepreneurs on how to get rapid results with her mindset methods. And she teaches her audience how the mindset actually works to get massive outcomes, basically helping you get out of your own way. So welcome, Kelly and Cappy, to Building Solid Foundations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
So it's great to have you here. So I'm going to start off with the obvious, which is, how did you two decide to get together and partner up?
Do you want to start?
You go right ahead.
Okay. Well, Kelly and I met years ago at an event, and she was doing publicity, and I've been a speaker for so long, and I won a raffle to be on The Pulse. I think it was
It was a
TV
television-
show.
Oh,
It was
I
a
thought you were going to
television
say
show.
you won Kelly in a round.
Well, almost. She won an appearance on one of our television
Great.
shows.
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So we met that way, and then we went to lunch after that, and
Okay.
liked each other and enjoyed each other's company, but never really worked together. And then many years later, we've reconnected because we live in the same community.
Right.
So on Facebook, I saw her posting, and I was like, "Hey, let's get together for lunch." So
We
then-
live right across the lake from each other.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
is really funny.
Yeah.
She's
so
like, I
then-
live right across the street. We'll cross the lake.
Yeah. So then you pick it up from there and tell.
Yeah, so we went to lunch, and she was telling me that she wrote this book, and she needed help, and I'm like, yeah, it's no problem. I mean, I can do that in my sleep, do the PR for the book. And she goes, and what do I can help you with? And I'm like, oh man, COVID had just started.
Mm-hmm.
All my events have closed down. I have no income coming in.
If you're in the live event space, that was a
Yes.
real
It was.
bummer.
I
that whole
walked-
pandemic
oh,
thing.
yeah.
too.
Yes.
I was walking clients down the red carpet, doing Oscars, Grammys, you name it, Emmys, everything, and everything just stopped.
Mhm.
And I go, I need help. And she goes, well, I can help you, you can help me. So when I was doing her book, PR, I said, you need some endorsements. Who would you like? And she said, I'd like to have Oprah. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
We don't like to have Oprah endorse our book.
I said, well, I could probably get Stedman Graham, if that's okay.
I hear he's pretty close to Oprah.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So she goes, yeah. And so I got Stedman Graham to endorse her book, and she looked at my business and said, do this, do this, do this, and gave me a session. And the next day I was like, wow. And when you were reading about rapid results, she is spot on rapid results. Within 24 hours, I woke up the next day a different person. And I was like, wow. So she was like my best kept secret. I didn't want to tell anybody about her.
No, this was the NLP or the hypnotherapy? that caused these
Hypnotherapy,
results?
everything.
Okay, really? Okay.
Just changing my whole life. It's like
Okay.
getting Botox.
Okay.
You don't want to tell people that, oh, you look so beautiful. How come, what's wrong? What did you do? Did you get your new haircut, lose weight? You don't want to tell people you went in and had a facelift or a Botox, right?
Right.
She was the best kept secret. So I
Okay.
kept watching what was going on in her life, and she'd come to events with me. So finally I just said, you need to get your own platform. So you really need to start something.
Well, I was asked to be the president of a very large women's
Yeah.
organization and a global company,
Yeah,
and
we
I
went-
pulled Kelly in with me on that, and then we just started partnering up and teaming up on everything. And then so she said, why don't you do this yourself? You don't need this company.
You don't need them.
Yeah.
You don't need them.
And I said,
you
well,
know?
then let's do it together. So
And I went, Okay.
So essentially, this is a matter of meeting through happenstance to some degree.
Yeah.
Being in, and that I always tell people one of the keys to having things work your direction is just show up, because you never know what happens when you just show up, and that's a challenge for me because I'm not the most social person. I kind of like being home by myself and being left alone. I know. With the TV, radio stuff, I seem like I'm very social. I can be, but I'm a very introverted personality for the most part. But I do force myself to show up to places, and the number of opportunities that have presented themselves that would not have been there if I had not shown up.
Right.
Exactly.
So a raffle, that's pretty chancy. It
Yes.
just sort of just happened.
Right.
And then you basically found a way to solve each other's problems.
We
Right.
did.
We did.
Absolutely.
That's to me the ultimate key to how to be successful, how to achieve your goals, is find
Exactly.
someone else who has an issue that you can solve, and if they can help solve your issue,
Right.
you've got the perfect matchup.
Right. And when she opened Awakened Women's Network, it was like I was trying to open up a course, so to speak, to teach people how to do their own PR. And I had all these different things ready to go, and I was like, I need help. And I'm like, you know what? I'll do it through Awakened Women's Network. And because the thing of it is it's a lot of money that people need to put out to get our expertise.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's separately, but if we come together and we make it affordable, why not teach and train and coach people together? Because they need her before they can come to me.
Yeah.
I've noticed so many women can't get out of their head to be on TV or to have that.
Now, in
PR.
your experience, and I have my own views on this, in your experience, do most do that backwards?
Everybody does. It's
100%.
all backwards.
Yep.
They want the leads, they want the marketing,
Yes.
they want the instant results, but they've never gone back. There's a reason this show is called Building Solid Foundations.
Right.
And the reason, I came out of the construction business, but so the foundation is the most important part.
Exactly.
And nobody sees it,
Right.
and nobody appreciates it.
Yes.
And I remember there was years ago, there was a friend of mine who was a general contractor, and he was working a very large custom home on a hillside, Riverside County area. Great views, but these people had the home, and they had a budget, they wanted to fix it up, but the foundation had an issue. And now they had a choice. They can sink $100,000 into the foundation, which nobody's ever going to see, nobody's going to appreciate. They're the only ones that'll ever know it's there. Or they can put the $100,000 into the structure, which is
Making
the
it pretty.
finishes and making it nice. But if they don't invest in the foundation, it doesn't matter what they put in the structure, it's
all gonna fall
temporary.
down.
Exactly right.
So they had to take that first chunk, and they didn't get the home of their dreams initially. Eventually they did.
I know.
Right.
But they had to invest in the foundation.
Yep.
Most people don't want to do it. They want the drapes and the carpet and the new
Yes.
sink and the
Oh.
appliances
You're right.
I know. I
while
was
the
right there.
building slides down the hill.
Exactly.
My house had $60,000 worth of foundation issues.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm sold. I'm out of here. See ya.
But in our businesses we do the same
Exactly.
I
mistake,
agree.
right?
Totally.
And so I think that's a key point that you brought up, Kelly, is that they need her before they need you, but they probably go to you first because we want it's the
I want to
instant
be on
gratification
Forbes. I
monster.
want to be in Forbes magazine. I want to be on the Today Show. I want to be on Good Morning America.
We want a shortcut, instant success.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no fully developed product or service or organization or structure,
Strategies, yeah.
strategy. None of that's
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And when I used to do business consulting, I did a lot of that. The reason I stopped working with solopreneurs was because they didn't want to talk about mission or vision or values or any of that stuff.
I
They
agree.
wanted, do you have leads? Where can I
Yes.
get? How can I just want to
Yes.
double my business.
Yes.
Well, double your business, you'll go bankrupt. You don't have a system in place to handle it.
Exactly.
You have no organization.
Yep.
And your product is frankly something you just made up at your kitchen table, and you
Right.
need to visit that. You don't even know
Yes.
who's your audience. Everybody.
Right.
No,
Right.
everybody's not your audience.
Exactly.
Oxygen, yes, everybody's your audience.
Right. Right.
But in business, no, there's a certain group of people.
Specific people. Yeah.
Even Amazon is not for everybody.
Right. Right.
As widespread as they are. So I think that's a very key point, and I want listeners to understand that if you are one of those people and you're working your business and you feel a little bit stuck or anxious on where do you go back and make sure you did your first steps. And if you don't know how, of course, we have someone here that can help you with that.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. And foundation is also what is in the foundation. Because remember concrete?
Well, concrete versus let's do styrofoam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the other thing too is a lot of people can take shortcuts and put additives in that concrete
That's
to
right.
make it last longer or make it go further.
I think water it down.
Water it down,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, or I teach at a college. I run a construction management degree program, and one of the projects my students do in one of the classes is they have to do a research paper on a failed project. And some of the failed projects, what you find out is the contractor was cheating, this contractor, by putting a lot of extra fly ash in
Got it.
instead of the cement,
Exactly.
which means it's not going to be strong. You're right.
Exactly.
They cheated on the concrete, and now your
Exactly.
foundation doesn't work.
Exactly. And that's why we found a lot of people who do that, and then they come back and go, what happened?
Right.
Why didn't it stick? It's like,
So in one sense, there's no shortcuts.
Exactly.
On the other sense, if you're working with somebody like Cappy, that's not a shortcut, but it may be an accelerated path to get to where you want to go.
Definitely.
And there's a difference between speeding the process up versus
Yes.
taking a shortcut.
Yes.
right. And
Absolutely.
she talks about that when she talks about the subconscious mind
Right.
and how people wire themselves. And I caught on. I mean,
Okay.
I was teachable, coachable, and trainable.
Yes, you
Right.
are.
You have to be
Absolutely.
open.
Yes.
Right. And so a lot of people think that, oh, well, if I try to speed it up, that is a shortcut, or they're looking for the shortcut. A shortcut means you found an alternate path that tries to bypass all the necessary stops on the way.
Exactly.
Speeding it up says instead of walking, you're going to take the Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
And what's interesting about her programs is that everybody's different, and everybody is at the same different paces. If you're open, and I was a skeptic, complete skeptic when you talk about hypnotherapy. Oh yeah, okay, whatever. You're going to hypnotize me. Ooh. Oh, scary.
You're getting sleepy.
Yeah, you're getting sleepy. No, that's not like it at all. It's like, okay, come on, bring it on. Let's do this.
Okay.
So.
So we've got to take a break. We're going to be right back after this. We're going to continue with Kelly Bennett and Kippy Pidwell talking about building a foundation and accelerating your success, and then getting out there and getting your message out to the people that need it. This is Steve Matley on Building Solid Foundations. We'll be right back after this.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we're in the studio with Cappy Pidwell and Kelly Bennett, and we are talking about their two-pronged approach to A, getting a foundation underneath what you're doing, and B, getting that message out. So we talked a little bit about the first step. You've got to build some kind of foundation under what you're doing, have a plan, a strategy. So Before we move on to the PR step, Cabby, can you tell us what's really involved? Obviously, we mentioned things about mindset and those things, but what are the key pieces we need in place before we run off and ring all the bells and tell everybody what we're doing?
Yeah, I love that. So there is so much to mindset, and as a speaker and expert on this, I find that people use that word lightly, right? Like, oh, it's you manage your mindset, but like we can't go to Macy's and go buy a mindset, right? So
And it sounds a little like the kind of the late night infomercial charlatan approach sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So people get a little bit iffy about that.
It's
right?
very like lightly, read a book, and I always say, how many books are out there on thinking positive? I mean, there's thousands of them,
Well,
right?
interestingly enough, I went to Barnes and Noble and I asked if they could help me find something, and they said we're not allowed to help you in the self-help section. It would defeat the purpose.
Oh,
Oh my.
good
That's
one,
not really
good
true.
one.
Okay.
So no, really, there's a lot of books on mindset and attitude, but people's internal talk, we talk to ourselves inside our heads at 500 words a minute.
Okay.
So our self-talk versus our verbal talk's only about 150 words a minute. But most people have a conflict in their head. They want to make so much money, or they want to have this, but internally they have fears, doubts, whatever it is that's blocking or stopping them. So I really educate people that the subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more effective as an information processor than our logical mind is.
And we have obviously less conscious control over it. It tends
yes.
to run on its own
It
in
does.
the background.
It does. I kind of tell people it's like an app on your phone. And if you go download an app, the app will deliver whatever is on the app. And that's precisely what I do. So if somebody doesn't have an app of success, let's say, and they sabotage, or they have limiting money beliefs, or they don't think they can hit certain goals or milestones, they will always do what the subconscious is programmed to do. It
So
doesn't matter how much training or books, or they get stuck. And so I tell people they get on the treadmill of trying, and they're on this treadmill, and you look at their bank account year after year after year after year, and many people stay the same.
Okay, so they got malware running in the background.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Some viruses.
So and so I educate people on how to leverage your subconscious mind, and I teach them how to get those rapid results, and it is through the products and the results. I can sit with a person, like I have so many clients, but I can sit with a person, and I have a client right now, he's a young guy, he's got lupus, and he wants to succeed in his business, and he's already pretty successful, he does well, but this health condition has really impacted him. So I have a 90-day program, and I work with somebody every week, and I make them products, and I coach them on their structure and their strategy. And we're in week 5, and we had a call yesterday, and he said, Cappy, I cannot believe I'm out of bed. I am functioning. I've got more business. In 5 weeks, somebody who's been suffering from a horrible diagnosis, if you will, that couldn't function for almost a year, in 5 weeks is miraculously feeling better. His physical body is reacting different. He's up boxing. He couldn't get out of bed. So when you can help somebody physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially, it's very rewarding for me to sit back, because I am kind of the geek squad for the mind. I know what people need. I can tune into people so fast. I've been doing this almost 30 years. So it's very easy for me to hear someone, listen to their language patterns. I'm a master of NLP, a master hypnotherapist. So I take a bunch of notes, I close my eyes, and I go to work, and then I make those products for people. So they're very customized, and they're very, very, very powerful. So I'm always looking at the results that people get. So as Kelly mentioned, you have to be somebody willing. He's done a ton of programs. He has spent a ton of money on coaching. He's done all these things, and he's like, oh my God, like here I am 5 years later, and I'm sick, and I'm tired, and I'm frustrated because I've done a lot of work. And I'm like, well, you haven't worked in your subconscious mind, have you? And he's like, nope. And that's why I feel like it is so different, because we're not educated on this part of us. We know it's in the background, but I know how to program it, and I know how to get you to levels you've probably never even experienced.
And we live in a culture, society, and not just here, globally, I think,
Yes.
where negativity tends to outshine and outpace positivity,
100%.
probably on a
Fear.
10-to-1 basis.
100%.
With fear.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
And unfortunately, one attaboy now and then cannot compensate for
No.
10 oh craps that you've
That's right.
been told.
That's right.
You're always late. you never
Yes.
finish anything you start. How
Yes.
come you can't be more like your brother?
Right.
One
Yes,
thing after
all those
another,
old
right? All those
programs,
things that are
yes.
programmed in.
We don't have the money. We don't have the
Well-meaning.
time.
I remember my well-meaning high school advisor who told me that not everybody should go to college. That maybe I wasn't one of those people that should go to
Wow.
college. When I finished my MBA, I wanted to mail him that and say, "Shut up
love
and
it.
don't ever tell a kid that again."
Right.
Now, I happen to agree that not everybody has to go, but you
Right.
don't tell a kid that they can't go.
Right.
You tell them
agree.
here's
Yeah,
options, but if you
Yeah.
want to go to college, do it.
Do whatever you
You know,
want
there's
to do.
trade programs and other stuff. I'm a big fan of those things.
Sure.
Right.
But I also firmly believe you don't limit somebody by deciding for them and
Yeah.
then programming into their head
exactly
that
right.
as an expert, I'm telling you that you're not the type of person that
Yes.
can
Yes.
succeed at
Right.
this. And I also know that giving someone a compliment seems to be something that it's like we act as if it cost us a lot, as if that's something that's going to take a piece out of us to say
Right.
something nice to somebody when
Right.
it's the least expensive thing you can do.
It's so easy.
It doesn't cost anything.
It's so easy.
Just say something nice.
Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, very easy. So yeah, I find that when people start getting the mindset and clearing out that mental clutter, then we can bring them through the next steps of what they want to accomplish. We get rid of the fear, the blocks, a lot of money stuff. I work a ton on people's money mindset. That's really probably my biggest outcome that I've helped people produce is doubling, tripling, tenfolding their income. And because we all have a relationship to money, and I say people, walk around with lack or worry, that doesn't equal success. So yeah.
So symptoms, I'm assuming, if you're thinking of my subject to this, symptoms might include chronic procrastination,
Yes.
distraction,
Yes.
justifying why I should be doing something else that seems productive but isn't what I should be doing at the moment. I find that the most insidious form of procrastination is doing something worthwhile,
Yes.
but it's not what you should be doing.
That's exactly right.
I would say chronic exhaustion. I'm too tired to think about this, to
Yes.
do anything.
Yes.
What other symptoms would you say people would experience?
I would say fear.
Yeah.
People are very afraid of rejection. So I work with
So
a lot of sales
insecurities,
professionals. Well, like a sales
fears.
professional will come to me and be like, I'm supposed to be picking up the phone or reaching out, or like you said, I'm kind of an introvert, but I have to do these tasks, right?
They might say no.
And they don't want. They might say no. It's a
And I
big
don't like
one.
it when people say no,
That's
because that makes me feel like
rejection.
they rejected me, not the product.
That's exactly right. That's a big
And
one.
it's also empowerment for the person because of the fact that I remember when she did a session for me with my money mindset, I didn't really realize it was because of what happened to me when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
My money came from my father and instructing me, don't make too much. Fly under the radar. Don't let people notice.
Now, is this to avoid being robbed, or so that people won't be jealous of you, or
No, because if you always bid low, you'll always be accepted.
okay, so this
never
is the
knowing
lowest price mentality.
No,
That was his money
Yeah,
mindset,
not-
right?
do
Everybody
not-
has one.
and when you don't know your worth, you become worthless.
Right, and I know that sometimes the best strategy, and I've talked to people about this, their best strategy is to triple their price. And for one thing, it weeds out the clients you don't want.
That's exactly
Exactly. But when I did that, I was having
Anxiety.
panic attacks. I called her on the phone. I went from I said, I think I should just charge this, and she goes, no, right there at $25,000, and I'm like, I never did that before in my life.
So, I'm paying you to ruin my life.
Yeah, and she called me the next day.
I called. I said, I got a check. I just walked into the office and said,
Here's what I want. You wrote her a
me a
check.
check, and I was like, he just wrote me a check. No one never done that before because I walked in with my power in me, knowing what I was worth, and gave him the idea and the confidence that I can do the job.
Right.
And this is what I.
Your confidence has totally changed.
Oh, she's like, oh, you're so different. I'm like,
You are.
And
Yeah,
that's
everyone
actually
else
ironic
is.
considering you came out of such a visual background where we assume that people in broadcast media are extremely confident,
Right.
or they wouldn't be standing in front of cameras posing and talking.
you
and,
know this.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do find a lot of people that do that. It's this Jekyll and Hyde thing going on.
Yes.
I'm this person when I have to be, but in reality, I'm this person over here, and I don't
perception.
believe the hype at all.
Right.
It's a perception. And that
Right.
people go, you're a movie star, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I put my pants on the same leg like everybody else does. One leg at a time.
Well, and everybody has, no matter, the most brilliant person in the world can only know so much
Yeah.
Exactly.
in an infinite
Yeah.
ocean of information.
That's right.
The most talented person can always be bested by somebody at some point in time. Somebody's better at something than
We
them.
all have our own genius.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Yes.
sure.
And if
for
we all
sure.
just stay in that lane,
Yep.
I stay in my lane, she stays in
Yep.
her lane, and that's why we work so well together. She loves the video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she can do videos and videos and videos. I really don't like being on camera. I don't like being, I'm okay, but I love writing.
Okay.
I
is
don't.
right, and she doesn't like.
I'll
to
send her
write.
my stuff and say, redo all this.
Here, fix this.
And then she'll get an interview and she'll say, you go. And I'm like, okay.
That's funny because I remember Sylvester Stallone in an interview once said that he opposes writing the way he opposes exercise. He has to fight for it. And what are the two things that guy's known for?
Right.
I know.
Exercise and writing, right?
Right.
And I think, okay, so there's some serious self-discipline there.
Yes,
Obviously,
for
he's done
sure.
some work to get past all that
Sure.
and been successful because of it. And what if he hadn't?
Right.
And so I think it's interesting. Yeah, if
It's a struggle. I mean,
right.
she goes, let's do a live video, and I'm like, no, that's not.
yeah, and sometimes we oppose doing the things that we're actually really, really good at.
Right.
And I think to some degree, maybe it's because it is something that we know we're good at, and we're afraid of what if I put something out that's garbage,
Yeah.
and that's going to pull the rug out from the one thing that I pride myself on.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
as if that matters. If what
Oh,
if
it's
somebody
a
else
big
thinks.
thing. It's a big. I was in radio and TV for years, and I'm thinking, what if I say something stupid, or what if I know the 7 cuss words, so don't worry.
Yeah. George Carlin. We're going to take a break.
Go right
And so we're going to be right back after this. So we're talking to Kelly Bennett and Cappy Pidwell. And when we come back, we're going to shift over and talk to a little more on Kelly's side about once you've got your foundation, what do you do with it and how do you get that message out? This is Building Solid Foundations Radio on KCAA. We'll be right back after this.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we're in the studio with Cappy Pidwell and Kelly Bennett. In the first couple segments, we dug fairly deep into Cappy's side of the equation, which is building that foundation and getting out of your own way and reprogramming that internal malware in our brain that's basically sabotaging us. And it doesn't matter how many apps you put on top of it, unless you get that out of there, it's never gonna get better. So then we get to, once we get that addressed, we move over to Kelly's side of the equation, which is now you have a viable enterprise, some product or service, something that you have to offer, but you've got to get that out to people. And this is where Kelly comes in. So Kelly, tell us a little bit about, we know you're a little bit about your background, but kind of fill us in on what you can do for people and what your connections and expertise lead them to.
Well, thank you. It all depends on where they want to go. So where do they see themselves? Do they see themselves in a magazine? Are they more TV people? And the product is also very important.
Okay.
The second thing is, who is the audience? Because we could go and if it's a mother type product, like for babies or kids or something that moms would use, utilizing mommy bloggers are a lot better of a way than just getting on the Today Show. So you can get into your audience a lot faster if you know who that audience is.
So traditionally we think, if I could get on a major television show, if I could have a New York Times bestseller, right? If I could be featured in some kind of a movie or documentary, that would be the ticket.
Right.
But you're saying that something as simple as a blog may be more effective if that blog is listened to by the exact type of people you're trying to get to.
Exactly, and I'll go a little bit further. We all talk about influencers. You know, now with the whole world of social media, you've got influencers that have 2, 3, 4 million people that follow them. Well, what if you were to get your product in front of them and they were to promote your product? You know it's going to cost a big old pretty penny because they're not going to do it for free.
Right.
But if you can get what's called a micro influencer, somebody who only has maybe 250,000 or 100,000, they could do it just as well and not so much, and maybe even for free.
And if you only needed 10,000 clients to move from where you are to extremely successful, then 1 out of 10 out of those 100,000 followers would be exactly what you're trying to get to.
And it's also about content too. And I'll give you a quick example. I had a friend who wanted to be an inspirational speaker. He wanted to jump on stage and he wanted to, you know, be an.
Everybody wants.
He wants
that
to
today.
be. He wanted to do that. So what he did was he went around to all of the different inspirational speaker events, and he would take pictures with them and do videos, buy their book, get them to sign it, everything, and then he would say, "Hey, can we sing Happy Birthday together?" or whatever fun little song. And so he collected all of this, the video of all these people. So he had a lot of content, and he was constantly on social media, putting out this content. Hey, I'm here with so and so. Hey, I'm here with so and so. We're talking big ones. I mean, the larger of the inspirational ones. Well, come to find out, he started tagging these people on his social media. They got to see him, and they're like, "Hey, well, this guy's got." He grew his audience a lot faster because he was tagging the social media influencer, the inspirational speaker, and they were getting in front of their audience. And so now he is an inspirational speaker on the same stage as the big ones. So, you know, he did it organically though.
Okay.
He didn't hire me.
Yeah, but there are people out there that do teach that particular form of marketing.
Yeah.
They'll do seminars and those kind of things where that's exactly what they teach is find some way to access and then document and put that stuff out there on the social media all the time.
Lots of content.
That's right. And so and I know that a lot of people attend those events, but then most of the people do not do that because I think we go back to what we were talking about before. Maybe they are too intimidated to approach these people, even though they're standing 10 feet away.
Right.
And they could say, "Would you mind doing this with me?"
Right.
Instead, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to bother. They're so much more important than I am."
You just got to step into it. And that's why after they talk with Cappy, they're not going to feel like that.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to do that because they're going to be a different mindset about themselves.
Yeah.
So now how do you help people decide which avenue to go down? There's print media, there's broadcast media, there's social media, there's books, there's all kinds of things you can do. How do you help people figure that out?
Finding what their story is.
Okay.
The backstory is always important, what kind of product they have and what type of service they have. So I'll give you an example. If you want to be on a talk show, you have to be able to talk to the person that's you're next to. Do you have products to show? Do you have a slide presentation? Or is it more of a news story where the actual news reporter comes out to you? You got to think about eye candy. If you're talking about video or TV or any type of video, they want to see something other than your face. I'm sorry, but we want to see other. It's just not two talking heads. Radio is different. You have to be able to describe what your product is and
paint the picture.
And paint the picture exactly. And then print is more of a statistical. You can do a lot more with print. However, you got to remember all of those have to say, what is it going to do to my audience? So if you can think about the TV station or the radio station or the radio show, the TV, what is it doing to the community and how is it helping? How is this product helping other people? How is this service going to help somebody? Why are you so important? What makes you different than your competitors? Why do we need to care about you?
Okay. So a lot of people, I think, get into their solopreneurship journey with this kind of concept, if I create it, they will come. But they don't know how to get them to come, and they can't describe why they took the time to create whatever they were creating. They have a very hard time articulating that. And maybe that's because they just took what's out there and made their own version of it, and maybe they don't know why it's better. So maybe that goes back to getting into the genesis of the product itself. Why did you decide not to do this as a W-2 situation? Why did you decide to go on your own?
Yeah, it could be a rags to riches type of product, and those are always great for media, because they always like to hear, you know, you were homeless, you were penniless, you didn't have any credit, you had to borrow $1,000 from your grandmother, you know, and you started, you worked and worked and worked and worked, and now you made $1.3 million in 6 months. That's a story.
Okay.
You know, and that's one of my clients right now, and he's rocking it, you know, getting on podcasts and media, you know, telling his story, because you want to give other people the hope, the presence of saying, hey, if I can do it, you can do it.
Okay.
It's very true.
So I find in that story a couple things. One, we have this tendency in our culture that we don't want anybody to ever have to get to a point of failure. We want to catch them and protect them, and maybe that's not always the best thing, because then you rob them of that story. That's one issue. And then there's all kind of debates, social stuff, whether what's right, what's wrong, what's humane, what's not. But I think sometimes we miss that point. And then I think the other side of that is there's a lot more people that are not living in the gutters. They're not, you know, in a rehab. They're not that kind of stuff. They're living that, what was it called, quiet desperation. They're stuck in, I'm not happy, I don't like my life, I don't like what I'm doing, but I can't make a change because I can't afford to make the change, but I would do anything to make that change. To me, that's as bad or worse. But when you're in the gutter, it's obvious to look up and say, there's got to be something better than this.
I can't go any further.
But when you're servicing the house and the car and all the stuff, that's a really hard thing to step away from when you have so much you could lose if you make a change.
But that's the risk factor, and that's why they need Cappy first, is because if they got to get that out of their head to take that risk, to make sure that they're able to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. Because you want to go after your dreams, right? But what's stopping you? I mean, I tell people right now, I was nothing until I met her, to be honest. I mean, I saw myself going on that the hamster, the hamster wheel, round and round and round, and every month it was just like, oh my God, how am I going to make my bills? I'll never forget the thing that she said to me. She goes, when you open up your bank account and you look at the money that you have, even if it's $5, say hi, say thank you, say hello, I'm glad to see you. Have a different type of, instead of going, oh, I don't have any money, be grateful for what you have. And I'll never forget that, because every time I open up my bank account, I go, oh, hello, nice to see you.
Well, one of the things I tell people is our relationship to our own success and our relationship to money is a relationship you can never divorce. You can't leave it.
Yep. So money's an interesting thing.
Money needs us more than we need it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is, do you own the money or does the money own you? And a lot of people, even if they have a small amount, the lack of their money owns them.
That's right. That's right.
And people, you know,
the lack mindset.
Money's a tool. It's something we trade back and forth to get the things we really want. Having a big pile of money does you no good. It's just money, and it's going to devalue. So you need to use it for something else. Obviously, you can use it to make more money. You can use it to buy things. You can use it to build relationships. You can use it for life experiences. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Some of it's for sustainability. We got to eat. We got to live somewhere. And people, I think, have a wrong view. And we in our culture have a complete misconception of money through our education system or lack thereof, our entertainment, just
or
the
even
attitudes.
how our parents treated us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how we much of our programming.
The number of people that I was a dean of students at a school once, and I remember students come in and they couldn't afford gas to get to school to take their test, but they were wearing Air Jordans and they had the latest iPhone and all this kind of stuff. They had tattoos that were probably worth, I don't know, thousands of dollars. So you went, okay, so the money's not the issue.
Right.
But maybe it goes back to this foundation issue of they're so busy looking for the validation that they're killing their own life.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We got one more segment to do to kind of wrap all this up. This is Building Solid Foundations Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We are in the studio today with Cappy Pidwell and Kelly Bennett, and we're talking about foundations and then getting your message out there. And if you are a solopreneur or you are starting something off, I highly recommend you look into the type of information they have available. We'll give you some website information when we come back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections. Hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field.
The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we're talking to Cappy Pidwell and Kelly Bennett. We're in the studio, and we've been talking about building a foundation under yourself, in your own mind, in your own life, and then following that up with getting that message out and understanding how best to reach the people you need to reach with the message you need to reach them with. Before we go on, I want to quickly plug their website. It's www.awakenedwomensnetwork.com. Awakened, past tense, women's, plural, and network.com. All one word, no spaces, no underlines, none of that stuff, just awakenedwomensnetwork.com. And you can find more information about both of them and the programs that are offered if you want to follow up on what you've heard here. And again, if you are in that solopreneur, you're either the stuck entrepreneur, not sure where to go from here, you've built something up, but you're stuck there, or you're starting something and you want to make sure you do it correctly and maybe find a better, more effective, more efficient way to get where you want to go without having to learn all their hard lessons yourself quickly. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to look at this information as you design what you're doing. Okay, so moving forward on this, you mentioned you have a PR course through the network, and that's part of what the partnership was. Mm-hmm. So what does that course look like? Who would sign up for it, and what does it offer?
Well, I'll let Cappy speak to that because we kind of combined services.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's more of a combined effort between what she does and what I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have several programs. I've been creating programs for 20 years now, and so I find the simplicity. I say people can buy me in a box, okay, and they can do their home study themselves, and so I create subconscious programs and products. So what I told Kelly is, in Awaken Women's Network, our foundation is mindset, marketing, and media. And those are the steps and really the steps people need to take. Mm-hmm. And so in Awaken Women's Network, we do every single month we have a program called Network Night. and that's all of our members networking. And then it's the first and third Wednesday of the month. And then the third Wednesday of the month, we have coaching calls. So I have found as a speaker going into all these platforms, nobody includes coaching inside the networking. So that's why it's a training, coaching, and networking platform. And then once a quarter, we do a live event. So our next live event's called the Money Zoom, and it's free, and we can give you that information. But the program that we created is I basically told her to give me the data, and I put the program together. So it starts with your mindset, finding out what you want to create, finding out where those limiting beliefs are, and then you start doing my subconscious work. So that's all MP3s. It's all downloadable. So people listen to that while they go to sleep. It's a hypnosis session on their mindset.
So this plays like in earphones while they're sleeping,
exactly.
and reprograms their brain.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then from that point, it's the next week they focus on marketing. They're still listening to that session because the session incorporates the mindset, the marketing, and getting to a level of success that they can actually see and feel themselves at, which is being in front of media. And then the marketing, we have tips on there. Again, how do you want to market? What do you want to market? Getting that clarity is so important. And then step 3, all her PR information. Do you want to do a press release? Do you want to hire a publicist? All the information that Kelly's an expert. So I combined all those, and that is part as a member. You get a discount to all our products, but that's like $997 for that program, which includes all the mindset, the subconscious. It has a workbook. It has all the PR stuff. So yeah, it's basically a self-study course. And then our membership's only $47 a month if people want to be a member.
And this is primarily targeted at women. I assume women solopreneur type people?
Primarily we accept men, of course, but we were talking about it earlier, picking a target audience. I have found so many women really in entrepreneurs today are very open to mindset, and they seem to be very receptive to a lot of coaching. And here's another thing I have found. A lot of coaches are men. And some of the biggest buyers of personal development are women.
Yes.
And if you think of the big names in the personal development field, it's primarily men. So I wanted to create a platform for women so we can share how we work and what we do and share our solutions. And again, we're not saying men can't come, but I want to create that space globally where women are really on stages and creating their genius and sharing those solutions, because we're the biggest buyers of this stuff. So when you look at all the...
So now, why do you think that is? Is that, do women have more hang-ups and issues, or do men just have so much pride and ego they don't want to address the issue?
I will tell you what I think, and it doesn't mean it's the truth, but I do want to say historically I call men producers. Men have always worked. They were always back looking the caveman days. Men went out and hunted. They killed the animals. The ladies fixed them up. Yep. So you go back historically, and men have always been producers. Well, women have gotten into the workforce, and now we're producers and still nurturers. Men's roles haven't changed too much. They still work, right? It's in your DNA.
It's gone from agrarian to industrial to more office administrative.
I would agree. But it's still it's deeper. Women haven't had that. We still have babies. We still, look at, my niece has twins and a 4-year-old, and she has 3 jobs and 3 little infants, and she's married and she's working.
So the working mindset's a few thousand years behind?
Yes, it's very different for women. We're still expected to look good.
Look what happened when COVID hit. How many women had to stay home and take care of the kids?
Yeah.
But they also worked from home.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Lots of them.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying men don't do that, but again, when you really look at the platform and you look at the historical, I think of any, Zig Ziglar, you think of Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins. It's all men. Right. So there's very few women in that space. So, well, I'm in the space, but as we collectively connect more women and help each other with our mindsets, our marketing, our businesses, we're meeting incredible women coming into the membership that just... they're going to be amazing at our events, and they become members. So it's really creating that community.
Fantastic. I always think I thought about the old Friends episode where Chandler was trying to quit smoking, so he put the tapes in that we slept, and it was for women. And he's telling him he's a strong, independent, woman, and then he starts walking around carrying a purse.
Oh, that's right.
That was pretty funny. Reprogrammed him. Obviously that was melodrama, but it was so funny. So, kind of putting a bow on all this, and we're going to talk. I just want the audience to know I'm going to have both of these ladies back individually next week on the show. So we're going to dig a little deeper what each one of them does. But I just wanted to summarize what they do together. They work to fix, or not fix, but to help change the mindset and then help you get that message out once you figure out what you're doing. And you want to go to www.awakenedwomensnetwork.com. That's awakenedwomensnetwork.com. It's Kelly Bennett and Cappy Pidwell, and they've been our guest today. I want to thank both of you for being on the show. We're running out of time, but we get to catch up a little on the next week's show. That's great. For listeners out there, I always ask you every week, go do something different this week. Go do something new, something you haven't done before. And maybe this week you want to look into this and find out, is there something I can do to push forward? This is Building Solid Foundations Radio on KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 and 102.3 FM. You can also find us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or on the Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. I'm your host, Steve Matley, and we'll see you next week.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050